Good morning. It's finally Friday, March 7th. This is Wake Up with KERA News, and I'm Andrew Garcia. It's going to be a bit warmer today than it has been this week, with temperatures reaching the 80s. That's pretty toasty for March. We do have some rain in the forecast, starting tonight through Saturday, so keep an umbrella on you as you enjoy the weekend. This morning, we'll hear how a UNT student's pro-Palestinian artwork was removed under claims of antisemitism. That conversation is just after today's news. The Rowlett City Council has reversed course on calls to reduce DART funding. City leaders voted earlier this week to rescind a previous resolution passed last summer that called to cut their contribution to the agency. Rowlett's support for DART comes as two bills in the State House could reduce the agency's funding. The Texas Senate passed a measure that would put a state-controlled cryptocurrency reserve into place to protect state investment against inflation. This is a day after President Trump announced plans for a U.S. reserve. The bill would establish a committee to give investment recommendations, and the reserve would be funded from the legislative budget and donations. A Muslim student's artwork was removed from a campus gallery at UNT this week following accusations of antisemitism. The pro-Palestinian artwork was critical of the Israeli government and referred to the war in Gaza as a genocide. It comes amid a larger wave of student activism on campuses across the country. Education reporter Lucinda Breeding-Gonzalez is following this story for the Denton Record-Chronicle and sat down with KERA's Bekah Morr.
Cindy, what do we know about this exhibit and why the work was taken down?
This is a two-person show, and it's by two UNT students, both women, and it largely references the war in Gaza. But there was one particular piece that really got a lot of attention and really got some critics worked up. And that piece is titled, "I Bear Witness." It was removed by the student artist before I visited the gallery yesterday, but I was able to study some photos of it. And it's an installation-style work. A sheer piece of material was spread out on the gallery floor with handwritten messages that evoke graffiti at encampments and on protest signs. There were references to resistance and, for example, things like #genocide and from the river to the sea. A small stuffed bear was swaddled in a Palestinian keffiyeh. A replica of a bomb was hanging over the piece, and it pointed directly at this small stuffed toy.
What specifically did people take issue with about this exhibit, and has the school said anything about it?
There was a letter sent from some Denton County lawmakers, and they demanded the entire exhibit be totally removed in 48 hours. And they said they wanted it taken down because they received hundreds of pieces of correspondence expressing concern and outrage, especially at the references to genocide and the phrase "from the river to the sea," both of which are considered calls to violence by supporters of Israel. But others disagree. Many activists say the phrase "from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" is a call for a Palestinian state and justice for the Palestinian people. It's definitely fraught. And the school has actually acknowledged as much. They haven't made any public comment, but the vice president and chief strategy officer at University of North Texas sent an email to one of the complainants. He said the university is aware that the exhibit contains works that some find disturbing and interpret as anti-Semitic expression, while others may find justified. And then said that as a public university, UNT is prohibited from limiting speech or expressive activities that the university deems objectionable per the First Amendment. And they mentioned wanting to really kind of preserve free inquiry and free exchange of ideas, and that that's part of the education process.
And we've seen this increase in activism, specifically pro-Palestinian activism from college students across the state, like the anti-war encampments and demonstrations here in North Texas last year. What has it been like on the UNT campus as far as that's concerned?
There has been a lot of activism. There have been at least two really large demonstrations on campus. One thing that has really kind of set University of North Texas apart from some of the other North Texas colleges when it comes to these demonstrations is that there have been no arrests. And I did think it was really interesting that former President Neil Smotrisk, in one of his last Board of Regents meetings, mentioned the last protest last year, and he characterized it as peaceful. I also was able to talk to a University of North Texas alum who was on campus just after the civil rights movement, and he said that he'd never seen anything like the pro-Palestinian demonstrations on the campus. He wasn't expecting them to be as large as they were because thousands of students took part.
That was the Denton Record Chronicles' Lucinda Breeding-Gonzalez talking with KERA's Bekah Morr. Here's a bit of what's going down this weekend in sports. FC Dallas plays their home opener against Chicago Fire FC. Trinity FC takes on Brooklyn FC at the Cotton Bowl. And the Dallas Mavericks FC, well, they're not a football club, I guess a basketball club? Whatever they're called, they take on the Grizzlies tonight, and the Stars will face the Edmonton Oilers. Spring hasn't officially sprung here in North Texas. That's not for another couple of weeks, but festival season is in full swing nonetheless. From Ramadan celebrations to DFW's largest Holly Festival and more. There's plenty of fun to be had this weekend. For more information and other fun things to do, visit kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show is produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter and get some good morning vibes from our colleague, Catherine Hobbs. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. And don't forget, we're springing forward over the weekend, finally. We'll see you on Monday.